Sophie here. I'm at Coco with Dryden Mitchell of Alien Ant Farm. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. We just finished playing a show and I'm here, happy.
But weird vibes after playing, you were saying just now, that it just feels a bit odd.
No, I like the feeling. I just like to have a beer or something, not get wasted, but just kind of get that little edge. There's an anxiety that comes with, for me, am I going to sing good or people are going to like it? And I know that's like a dumb thing to think, but it's how I think and get those nerves out afterwards. Even if it's a great show, like it was tonight, it's nice to decompress with something alcoholic.
Yeah. I'll let you get on with that in a minute.
No, it's fine.
Now, we're playing the new material. Is it second nature yet, or are you still having to think a bit more when you play it?
No, it is, because I spent so much time writing it and recording it that it is kind of second nature. For these shows, I didn't want to add too many new songs to our set because I feel like, some people had mentioned, is this a nostalgia tour? I think if, I don't want us to sound like we're some old band, but no. I want to play as many songs that represent that time, I feel like when, kids that aren't so much kids anymore come up and say, Anthology, that the record that Smooth Criminal and Movies were on, was like their summer record, or they first, found their first love, and or their first breakup, or whatever it is. And so I think, to hammer home like a bunch of new songs is probably not the best idea for me. When I go see when I see bands that I love and they play like all new music, it bums me out because I want to be familiar, as familiar as I can with it. So
you want it to be an interactive experience where the people are singing along and
right.
You said it took a while to get the new album kind of done because just things that happened to do with Pledge and stuff like that. Yeah,
beyond Pledge, just signing with someone new that we thought was going to be a great situation. Turned out to not be, where we just writing music and not satisfying the person. When someone gives you fronts you money, I guess, to do any job, whether it's music or anything, you want to facilitate and make and appease and make them happy.
Yeah, sure.
So when I'm coming up on writing like 50, 60, 70 songs, it's discouraging because I think maybe they signed the wrong band, or because we've been signed to some pretty major labels in the past, and they'd always just trusted that we would do the right thing, musically or artistically. Every once in a while, they'd come in and make a suggestion or say something, but not 70 songs worth. You start to question yourself a little bit. So that's what really took the most time. Is I'm sitting in a room with other co-writers, which I'm fine to do, but I don't want an album just worth of me and co-writers. It doesn't sound very Ant Farm at that point. I mean, just my voice on something. So it took a minute, and then we finally got a little fed up and just started to peel away all those songs and find what we thought to be at least our version of an Ant Farm record. I mean, within all those 65 or 70 songs, we kind of nitpicked a little bit.
And the ones that didn't make the cut in the end, are they gone forever, or are they good enough that you might go back to them?
I think we have like there's songs that are on that whatever, they're on my phone for that matter, that I really, really love, and I hope that that someone will hear them someday. I hope that people hear the music that we put out for once. So not to say just because we made a record doesn't mean it's going to be heard. But yeah, I like to put out what I did write earlier.
Talking about the co-writing, it must be hard when you're used to taking on just your bandmates' opinions, and then suddenly someone that's not in that close-knit group has an opinion, and you've got to take it on board.
It's really strange, yeah. You there's a fine line between you want to be polite and you want to like tell them or that they don't know what they're talking about. But in the end of it all, I think a good musician is gonna work well with another good musician, and we were fortunate enough to meet some cool people along the way. What it did for me was make me think that I want to co-write with musicians where I'm the hired guy to do it, because I felt like once we were all in a room, I could kind of take over and make at least direct it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, these guys are getting paid to come with us. Like, this is not what happened, So it's a little bit of not trying to sound like conceited, but it was nice to see that in a setting like that I could work well and feel like I could take over a little bit. So I'd like to try that sometime.
But I guess from reading various interviews, you wouldn't do the co-write thing for the next album. You'll keep it just to the...
Yeah, I don't know. Unless it was just an artist that I loved, and Edie Brickell or just some artist that I have a true fondness for. But to just have someone come in like, hey, I'm friggin' Tricky Guy, or whatever, some new hip hop dude. I'm like, no, thank you.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Have you read the reviews at all, or do you kind of just try and avoid all that?
I didn't ever know that. Like, I'd done a lot of interviews and then people talking about the record, but I haven't read any reviews of the record.
Okay. I won't give too much away because some people don't want to know, but a lot of people have said that lyrically it's the best stuff you've ever written.
Yeah, it's cool, like, to think. It's weird. I don't know. I never feel that way until years later, and then I hear like something will happen to me. Most of the stuff I do write is pretty fictitious to my situation. I don't know that I write too much about my situation. I always feel like I fortune tell because 5 years later I'll hear an old Ant Farm song. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening to me now. Yeah. So it's weird to think that I don't think I have any kind of clairvoyance or anything, but it's very coincidental though that a lot of these things I write about end up happening to me, in time. But I think that's human. Like anything you write is going to happen in time.
But talking about the lyrics, did you feel like when you were writing the album that you had lots of things that you wanted to vent, or is it just maturity that you just a bit wiser with the words as you get older?
I don't know. I think. It's just that given day, we went through like really horrendous weird things and really great things. Remember when we went through our bus crash, I thought I was going to just pour all of this emotional stuff. Yeah. And it never really came, and I'm cool with that, but it's just, I kind of like that too, that it's just a day-to-day thing. How do I feel? And I like to play with words. So the idea is not to get too deep until it's time to get deep. But, one sentence will trigger the rest. So
Thanks for singing, guys. Thank you for singing.
Now, I think people would be surprised by the people that inspire you. Like I was looking at your timeline, you mentioned Joni Mitchell and like Edie, like you mentioned earlier. Did any of the like bands or artists or wordsmiths infiltrate the album, and you didn't think they would, but they've somehow, you can hear them present in there?
I don't know that we did a song that's called Homage where I'm calling them out. Yeah. But I don't know that, I think that like Edie's style, definitely I've always kind of chased. And it's not even, I don't think it's a melodic thing. It's just a pen to paper thing, and I can't quite pinpoint even what it is, but it's in there somewhere. Yeah. Very cryptic sometimes, and only I will know, only she will know. Like the girl that I wrote that for, only she will only know what that means. And I know a lot of people do that too, but it's there. Now,
on stage you were talking about how MTV, they don't play any music. They do, what was it, 16 and...
butt fucking?
Yeah, that was...
Well, 16 and pregnant is a huge show and it sucks, but... Hey, I mean, it's what people want to watch. I guess, if they wanted to watch videos, there'd be videos on there, It is strange to see that channel, how it's kind of taken shape,
Do you think, like, just the way it is, the music industry, and how bands have to, the things they have to do with social media, do you think it's a better position and a better environment, or would you just take it back to how it used to be if you had the choice?
I have no idea, really. Like, I think there's pros and cons to both, and I think that the great bands and great idea makers will always kind of like rise to the top, in the sense like the way it is right now, it's like kind of the Wild West where a lot of bands that would have never made it are bigger than ever right now. So kudos to them, and I could be here bitter all day like, oh well, we should still be, it's just not how it works. So I understand that you know, every once in a while I'll get an interview where someone's like, do you have any advice for young kids coming up? I'm like, I wanted to talk to them and have them tell me what they're doing, you know? So it goes both ways. It's all cyclical too, like, you know, it's there to be had, you know. There's people still love music. Maybe they don't always buy the record, but there's ways to make a living here. You just have to be a little maybe more creative, you know.
Savvy.
So a lot of big artists, are really creative artists, don't know how to be business people, you know, and they're screwed. So you gotta, but you know, they're very introverted, very, like they don't even care about that side of things. So I think it takes a little bit of both, you know.
Now, talking about the people you're with on tour, Hoobstank and P.O.D, is it just like old times, or have you all changed so much over the years that it's kind of a new experience each time you're together?
Well, old times, see, we've played lots of shows together with those guys, but more like festivals and stuff, where we just kind of shuffle through the bands and crowds. We're not like this team of, you know, we were never so close. I'd say maybe Hoobstank more we were close with. But it's nice just to see them have, you know, their children, and it's a trip, you know.
If we compared like tour life with you guys now to back in, say, 2000, what are the glaring differences for you in terms of riders, your behaviour, anything?
We've never been like a rider band. We just want, you know, water and towels. So we never really were in a position to, I think, even receive like ridiculous or luxurious things. No, a lot of it's the same. I think I get burnt out easier, not even physically, just mentally. You know, it's weird to. I have 2 children now, and maybe it's not very rock and roll to say, but you know, I'm going more than 2 months now without seeing my daughter, and that's the one thing, you know. Otherwise, if I had money and a bus where my family could be on it, you know, maybe I'd just stay gone, and if people wanted to see shows, I'd just do that.
Does she think Daddy's cool? Does she get it?
She's not even 2 years old. I'm gonna be a dipshit for her whole life, I'm sure. That's how kids.
Yeah, we all see our dads.
My dad was a moron until I realized he was like the coolest person ever.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and I hope to see you back in London again soon.
I hope so too. It's cool crowds.
And you can relax now because you know we love you and we want you here.
Well,
that's nice, isn't it?
I don't want to relax. I like that anxiety.
We'll crack on with that then.
Yeah.
Thank you.